Ladies and gentlemen, in Texas's newest attempt for the most vile, disgusting mistreatment of women in the entire country, the Texas GOP proposes the death penalty for women who get abortions. That same exact state had a woman that was bleeding in her last trimester, went to an emergency room, and the doctors in the emergency room refused to treat her because of the care she would need. She was in a bathroom in the emergency room, bleeding out, while her husband called 911 for an ambulance to pick her up from a hospital that was refusing treatment and bring her to another one. And she still couldn't get the treatment she needed. There is a 7th grader that was assaulted at 12 years old. Because of the laws, her mom did not know if she met the criteria for the exemption. The doctors refused to treat her because they are being threatened with murder charges and losing their licenses and being prosecuted. The nurses, the medical staff, everybody involved would be accessory to. This is what Texas is doing. The Supreme Court also ruled against more than 20 women that filed suits because this law has caused them permanent damage, leaving many of them unable to carry a child again because of what happened when they couldn't get the help they needed. There was a woman who's 18 years old, not 18 years old, sorry, 18-week pre-labor rupture. She had the name for the baby. She really wanted a baby. She named the baby Willow. She was only 8 weeks old, and a pre-labor rupture put her in a life-threatening medical situation where doctors would not help her, refused to help her because of these laws. She survived. The baby obviously did not. But she is no longer able to carry children because of the damage that was done, because of her not being able to just have the procedure, have it done correctly, and her still be protected. Even though the lower courts in Texas did side with these women, this group of women suing the state because of these, the Supreme Court, under the rule of Mr. Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton, if you remember correctly, is the gentleman who is not only impeached, but indicted. And all the rest of the Republicans in the area just decided not to pay attention to the findings, not to pay attention to the rulings. Who cares if he was impeached and indicted? Ken Paxton is the spearhead of these ugly, ugly, ugly laws, and all the Republicans in the state of Texas are all behind him. Now, this is a state where there is no exceptions anymore at all. They want to charge doctors as murderers, as the most hardened of criminals, all for helping save women's life. They have a part of a rule in here that if the mom is seconds away from losing her own life, then they could try and save her. But if they do it too early, then it's a crime and you lose your license, and everyone working with you in the hospital, in the room, is an accessory, and they lose all their medical certifications as well. This is Texas. This is the GOP stripping away women's rights in every way, shape, or form, putting women in danger in every way, shape, or form. What is it going to take for Republicans in Texas to put their foot down and get every single one of these people responsible for doing this out of office? Because we have one chance to do just that, and that is in the elections of 2024. Ken Paxton should not be in office anymore. He broke tons of actual laws. He was found guilty. He was impeached. and the Republicans refuse to enforce any of it. This is the man also responsible for over 2.5 million Democratic votes in the state of Texas disappearing. And if you do the math, that would have flipped Texas blue. So let's focus coming up on this election, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get every single electable position in the state of Texas, in the state of Missouri, in the state of Alabama, in the state of Florida, in the state of Tennessee, in Ohio, all of these states, Oklahoma, that have these ridiculous draconian laws stripping women of their rights. Let's get together and make sure every damn Republican responsible for this is out of office by the end of this year. With that, Joe Biden, a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, will codify Roe v. Wade, will give women their rights back, will dissolve every one of these bullshit laws the Republicans put in place coast to coast in the red states. Joe Biden and a Democratic Congress will fight for women's rights, will fight for your health care, will fight for what you need. It's no longer a Republican thing. It's no longer a Democratic thing. It no longer has a damn thing to do with politics. It has to do with simple things, logic and patriotism. But the most important thing November has to do with is women's rights and our freedoms. So remember that when you go to vote. And if you are in one of these states with these crazy Republican laws and you're still thinking about voting Republican because you refuse to vote for Joe Biden, do everybody in this country a favor, especially your daughters, your sisters, your mothers, everyone in the future generations that will be affected if you go out there and vote Republican. Stay to hell home and don't vote at all. That's the most patriotic thing you can do if you refuse to vote Democrat. Don't vote at all. That's putting the country first. And that, in your really selfish ass way, is standing up for women's rights. I mean, God forbid you do that, as an American. Unless, of course, you're one of those Republicans that want to take the women's voting rights away from them as well, that want to actually force them to get back in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. Because there's only one vote per household, right? Project 2025. Nationwide abortion ban. States registering the menstrual cycles of the women in your life, including your daughters, your granddaughters. And you're going to look yourself in the eye, you're going to look yourself in the face in the mirror, and you're going to say you're being a patriot by voting Republican. That's not being a traitor to this country. It's being a traitor to your family. It's being a traitor to your future generations of your family. And being a traitor to the country. Think about that. If you're not going to vote Democrat, and you don't want any of this to continue, don't vote. Stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We are all in this together, whether you like it or not.